Hey guys, my name is Ben. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how to find a card. I know a lot of magicians know how to find a card. This is probably the first trick you learn when you became a magician. But what I really want to talk about is the presentation. I think we should put more focus on the presentation because the magic is not only happening here, the magic is also happening here. Okay, so let's get started. Let's start with a shuffle deck of cards. Today I want to use a plain card to do a tarot reading. Reading doesn't really have to be spiritual and psychic. It also summarizes the solution and the obstacle from the history. The card is a picture book. Every single card have a different story and the meaning. And then let the spectator take one card, let's say this one. I will let them cut the card or just mix the card, whatever they want. But what important is after they mix it, I want to look at the face of the deck and then pick two cards different than the selected card. So let's say they just pick two cards randomly. The select card represents the obstacle. And the Queen of Clubs represents something we should not do. We can picture an image of a mother holding a hand stick. She supports everyone she loves, but sometimes that makes no room for herself. This is something we should not do. And the Three of Spades represents something we should do. Spades like a shop at the end, so we got to holding the blade to protect ourselves. Three, which means like freedom. We need to express ourselves and then allow us to be myself. If we combine these two cards together, that remind us don't sit there and watch all the time. If we put a 7 horizontal, that is the image of a sickle to harvest the crop. Always care about others and support people, but the point is that will leave no room for ourselves. So I think this is your card. This is what the obstacle you pick. After I find the card, these two cards not got to use anymore. I put it inside the deck in the middle, so we clearly see that in the middle. And then I will hand the deck to the spectator, let them to pick it up, and then deal the cards one by one on the table. They could do one or two, it doesn't matter, but deal some more on the other pile. That pile is not for use. After this pile will be similar thickness, I will tell the spectator to stop, and this pile is holding by the spectator hand. I will pick the pile that not for use and then do a demonstration. If I cut the card like that, cut a fill card on top, that will be end in this card. But what if I cut it again, but cut few more card this time, a bit thicker, so that will be ending here. That will be a different result. And then the spectator will cut these two piles by themselves. Start with the pile on their hand and then the other pile on the table. So let's say we are actually doing a reading today. So you're bringing a question to me and I give you the answer by the card. But sometimes people always want to ask the same question again and again because they want a different answer. But I have to tell you, the first answer they get always be the answer they are really looking for. You see, you cut the card by yourself and you still end up with the same answer. I'm not the one who gives the answer, not even the card. You are the only person who know which answer you really want to get. So this is the style that how I do the final card trick. You don't really have to follow exact the same. You can even do that with a psychology style. So by saying you try to hide in your card subconsciously, I might probably go for a number between 3 and a queen, maybe go for the middle. And also you're not hiding that completely, so maybe your card is a black card. You can perform the trick in this way. Basically, I'm just using a very simple method, the key card principle. When I shuffle it, I just peek at the bottom. So now it's the 8 of hearts. And then let the spectator to touch one. Let's say if they touch this one. So I will drop down the white, drop down this pile on my right hand, and then show them this card, and then put it on top of this pile, and then put the bottom card on top of that. So this is how I do the key card. I think this is a natural way to do it, because if they touch this card, I have reason to put that down to show them this one. I know we usually will show the spectator like that, but they are not magicians. They don't know what we usually do. So basically, I always drop down the first pile and then show them this card and put the bottom card on top of it. When we're doing the key card, a lot of people just deal the card. Let's say the spectator take one, and then we deal the card one by one. So they say stop. They say stop here. I put this card on top, and then put a whole bunch of cards on top of that. It seems like not very natural. So I choose the way that doing this on that way. You can use any different method. Key card, you force a card, you pick a card. Doesn't really matter. You can just simply show them one card, and then maintain a break. Cut it on the top or the bottom. Just find a way to pick it. It doesn't really matter. When I pick it up, before I pick it up, I still don't know what is the card yet. So I demonstrate to the audience, to the spectators that you could cut the card on the table. You could mix it. So this is Charlotte Shuffle. You just basically you're not mixing the card. You just simply cut the card, but it seems like it's not very messy. So the spectator is not. They don't have the knowledge about it. So it seems like you're really mixing the card. So after I do that, I explain to the spectator, I want you to go through the whole deck and find 2 random cards. In that moment, I pick the under the key card, so I know what's the selection now, and I give it to them. Like, I don't want to find a card in this moment. I want them to shuffle it and add some extra element. Otherwise, if you do the same procedure, cut the card, mix the card, and take it and look at it, and then boom, find a card. I think this is kind of give it away. I think the spectator would know how to do that. So I just create a little bit time gap between these 2 moments. This is not I'm looking the card, right? This is the moment that I demonstrate them. Said you need to find 2 random cards when you look at the card. So after I pick the key card and then know the selection, and then I could just simply to let the spectator to shuffle the card and then pick 2 random cards. This is not very difficult, but what difficult is the meaning. Normally, I would use the numerology and the tarot card system to do the reading. Because as a mentalist, I think we should use reading quite more often than we think we're supposed to do. Prove that you're actually learning people. Otherwise, if I said I learn people, I know psychology, I can observe your behavior and observe your facial expression to find your card. You actually find the card, but the point is you using that to find your card. But if you really know that kind of knowledge, you could do a lot more than that. So basically, the only proof you have you know something about the psychology is because you find the spectator card successfully. I don't think that convincing enough. So that's why I use this way to do a final card trick. If you know things about tarot also has 4 suits. 4 suits can represent the club, heart, diamond, and the spade. In tarot, it has the cup. The cup represents the heart. The sword represents the spade. Wands represent the club. Coin represent the diamond. Every single suit in tarot have 8 through 10. Basically, it's describing something from start to the end. And also, it have 4 cards: page, knight, queen, and a king. So usually, I won't use the page. I just use the knight to represent Jack, and then queen, king. If you have the knowledge about this, you can do a tarot reading on the poker deck. In the demonstration, I use numerology. Very easy to memorize. Basically, from ace to king, right? For the ace, I will picture that thumbs up. Thumbs up is mean I can say confidence and people willing to listen to you. And then 2 would be index finger, you point to someone. If the thumbs is only about me, myself, because I'm so confident, index will be pointing to the other one, so I'm putting focus from me to the others. be meaning for the communication, very friendly. I would imagine 3 is the sign of the okay, giving the possible feedback to people. So you are not afraid to express yourself. You always give your opinion to the others. 4 would be something like a frame, a square frame, very stable, not easy to change. And then 5 would be a rock inside the frame. So basically, you break the frame, tracing the freedom, don't want to be limited, don't want to be trapped in anywhere, anytime. 6 would be different from the 5. So 5 is like you want to be yourself, you want to trace the freedoms. But the 6 would be I want the people to be themselves, so you care about the other people, but sometimes you have no room for yourself. And then 7, I imagine, is kind of like a sickle. Do the harvest the crops that require a lot of patience and also no hesitate. 8 would be riding a horse, the ability to take action. 9 would be the largest from the single digit number. Because you're the largest, I imagine this is old wise man wisdom, how people. 10 would be like a star, like 10 different dots. I picture that as a star on flashing, kind of like rethinking a lot. I never stop. I want to learn a lot of different things. I want to learn as much as I want. And then the Jack is the knight, riding a horse, always chasing your goal. And then no hesitate. Queen would be a mature woman, kind of like image of a mother. The king would be same thing, mature but rational, follow the rules, leadership. So you can use that simple thing to memorize the whole thing. And the different suits will be, the club will be like a sword, very sharp. Somebody else take that to stop you. And then the club would be like a flower, so a piece of wood attached on it, so you can torch it like a fire. Fire represent passion. You can use that as a hand stick to support. Heart would be more emotion. Diamond is very stabilized, not easy to change. Basically, this is how I describe it. If you're using one card, put it in different position, they have different meaning. The 10 is on the obstacle, don't think too much. So I said 10 is like always want to learn something new, right? So you're thinking too much. You want to get a lot more than you're supposed to have. And then if you put that on something you're not supposed to do, you're not supposed to think too much. And then if I put it here, so that would be something you're supposed to do. If you want to change for one thing, but sometimes it doesn't work. So if that doesn't work, we have to change to the other path. So just find your own way. You can learn lots of different style, lots of different system. Just find your own way to do the reading. The reading is a really good weapon when you're doing mentalism. This kind of thing not only can do a trick, right? So after I do a trick, the people can ask me, can you really give me a fortune telling style reading? Take some time to read some book talk about tarot. And also Louis Levar have a really good product called Devil Knows. He teach you how to use the playing card to do a tarot style reading. So if you learn it, that will be your weapon in your pocket for the entire life. Let's jump to the ending. To make it easier, I use the 2 aces. Okay, let's say this is the card that they pick, and then this is the 2 that represent the solution. So when I take it back, I just simply cut that in the middle. So when I spread through it, I let the spectator actually see, raise the card. So I said in the middle, so I'm not going to use it anymore. When I close the spread, I maintain a break between those 2 aces. Maintain a break, and then use a turnover pass. So basically, when I grab the top packet, I just lift it a little bit. So in front of that. So this is used for covering the other hand. The other hand is just like that. Turn this over. So basically, I lift it, turn the bottom packet, and then turn the top packet. Then you will cut the ace, 1 ace on top and one card on top and 1 card at the bottom. Once again, turn over pass. So this is what I'm going to do by the other hand. The right hand will be like that. Okay. So basically put that together. Lift the first packet, and then turn over pass. So I'm sure you guys can find lots of different tutorial online. And then also, this is not this only method. You can still using the something like a double undercut or any control method. You just need to put one card at the bottom and one card on top. That's it. And then when they do down the card, so all you need to do is the cross-cut force. So originally cross-cut force will be like handing the card to the spectator directly and then let them to cut the card in a rear angle. So basically you either forcing the top card or forcing the bottom card. But I see a magician from China called Albert Chow. He has a really good idea to do the cross-cut force be more deceptive. So basically by imply the swing force card. So basically it's a force card. I just separate them just like that. I never cut it. So you swing the top packet to your left hand and then tap it and then put down the packet on your right hand and then put the left packet on top. So basically you just separate the card by the middle, not cutting them. He just used that like he used that in that way. So telling the spectator, if I cut the card, that will be ending here. Let's try what if you do it. One of my friends added some subtleties in it. So he said, if you want to demonstrate it, so why don't we do that more details? So I cut the first one a little bit thinner and then put it down and said, even the same person to cut the card, if I cut a little bit thinner, that will be ending here. If I cut a little bit thicker, that will be ending here. So this is a really good idea that I think this add a lot of details in it. So in that case, the spectator never think of you are simply showing them the top card or the bottom card. Even they think so, you can tell them, I just showed you one times. So basically, I show you that will have a different result. So they have no idea how to track back the method. I think this is a really good way to do the cross-cut force. And then, so basically, the ending would be they cut the card, and then something like that, boom, boom, done. The event will be, so finish the event. So basically, this is the presentation I used to do the final card trick. One thing I like about it is because the ending, the picture of the ending is explaining the process, because we always want to use a good process to hide the method we're using. So in that case, the method I use is not related to how I actually find the card. The method I use is used to make them more interesting, but it connects to the end, the same card appear. Two different methods, they kind of cover each other. So when they track back the whole routine, even though I could force them a card, I could pick the card, I might actually do something like that, but they can't explain how do they cut these two cards. Naturally lead them to think of the process. I'm referring a deck of cards to a picture book, so they would think that is it a real thing? So is this every single different card have a different meaning of the obstacle and the solution? This is why I like to do the final card trick in this way, especially when we're doing the mentalism. I want the trick is useful, introduce myself. I don't want to be the guy can only do magic. I want them to know a little bit more about me by the trick. If I talk to them, they said, I could read body language, and the only proof I have is I can guess a name, I can guess a card. I don't think this is enough. But what if I tell them I use that for the fortune telling, but I see the fortune telling in a different way? Tarot reading don't necessarily to be spiritual and psychic style. I introduce the card as representing wisdom. This is kind of like a picture book. You record a lot of different thing happen in a history before. We can talk to the audience in this way. I know not everyone like to be a psychic, so you don't have to be. Even though I learned a lot of things about tarot and numerology, star sign, I don't really have to perform that in a psychic style. Just using them as a proof that you really try to study human history and studying human behavior. Reading is a really good weapon. You can use that to convince the spectator that you are actually know some history of the humanity. When I perform magic, I don't want they only focus on here. I want they focus on here. If you go to learn the meaning of the every single card of the playing card, just using my system or the other system, it doesn't matter. When you're doing the out of this row, you can say the black represent rational and the red card represent the emotional. Or when you do the triumph, so in the middle of the triumph, you have to show the card face down and face up, right? When I shuffle the card face up and face down, so one pile, the face up pile represent that some obstacle you've been through. The face down pile would represent that the obstacle might exist but not happen yet. Maybe that will happen on you in the future. When you're showing the card, you can say you're riding a horse. You can see things in the lower levels. Maybe there's a rock and you will fall down easily if you don't have the clear vision. And then the other thing would be like, I know you like stable, but sometimes you be trapping yourself. After you give them some example and then go to the final phase, turn all the card face up. You should say, sometimes we don't know what will happen in our future, but we could take the experience from the past and then learn from the others to get through that kind of obstacle. So I think the presentation is kind of like introduce who I am. Every trick I do basically contain reading. Not I could read people, but I know people. What I'm presenting. I like to learn the human behavior. I like to learn how the people think. So this is what my character is. I think that's the thing that I want to talk about today. And hope to see you guys in the next video.